Buying a new bike used to be easy. You were either a VPP fan, a single pivot fan, or a 4-bar fan.
You picked how much travel you wanted, decided between Shimano and SRAM, and maybe even asked a few friends for advice.
And then you'll probably go down the shop and kick a few tires, but that was it.
Now, if you're in the market for a new e-bike, things are more complicated, because not only do you have to decide what bike you want, you also have to decide what motor you want to run.
And it doesn't even stop there. Do you go for a full power motor or a mid-power motor? Do you go big battery or small battery? It's enough to send you balmy.
That's so true, Danny. And if you thought buying an e-bike was difficult, testing them is equally difficult. I mean, I know you can take it easy on the climbs if you want to, but there's a whole new dimension to performance that needs to be considered when you're on an e-bike, and that's not to mention reliability.
So are we placing too much significance on the motor and not enough on the bike that it's attached to?
No, not at all, Danny. And I think it's because the analog side of the modern e-bike is pretty highly evolved, so it makes a lot of sense that we're obsessed with this new technology.
And we all love geeking out, right?
Yeah, and when it comes to e-bikes, there's absolutely no shortage of numbers to chuck around, right? But I actually think it's wrong to try and separate the e-bike system from the bike. Like, people do motor tests and we have our preferred systems, but I think you have to look at the bike holistically and how it performs, and not just like the power and torque of the motor.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and I think the SRAM motor's a prime example of this, right? You know, it came out with 4 different brands on board: gas, propane, transition, and nuke-proof. And you know, the system had a lot going for it, right? It had loads of power, it had good batteries, it had this auto shift function.
Totally.
But like, everybody gravitated towards the nuke-proof.
Exactly. So the specifics of like geometry, performance, and let's face it, how it looks, are actually really important when it comes to buying an e-bike.
Yeah. But Al, that was the perfect storm because they all had the same motor, so the key variable was eliminated.
And it would have made an amazing test, but SRAM basically didn't want it to turn into like a 4-way group test with their motor on different bikes. But what's really interesting is that the public quickly figured out that the nuke-proof was like top dog amongst those 4 bikes.
Totally, and actually that's given me an idea. I think it would be brilliant to do something around the new Bosch CX motor. Imagine doing like a group test with all the latest bikes.
Yeah, I mean, that's an amazing idea, because let's face it, we all know people that have gone, yeah, I want blah blah motor, and then, well, actually mostly I want a Bosch motor, yeah, and then they go shopping for bikes with Bosch motors, so the motor takes precedent over the brand. So kind of what they really want to know is,
what's the best Bosch equipped
CX equipped
e-bike,
bike, right? Yeah. Right, let's throw that out to the viewers. Do you think that would be a useful test? Let us know in the comments, and if there's enough of you want it, we'll make it happen.
And let us know which bikes you'd like to see in it as well. But we can't really discuss this motor madness without talking about the DJi Avinox motor that's in the Amflow behind us.
The most talked about motor, right? The thing is, Danny, not everybody wants an Amflow. Like, some people want more travel, some people don't think it looks very good, some people say it's flexy, which I think
it was probably me who said that.
Yeah, well, you're one of them, right? I'm going to basically totally disagree with that, but that is a subject for another video, not this one. And if anything, I think the Amflow highlights the fact that there's still a lot of brand snobbery within the mountain bike world.
Within this room.
Yeah. Speak for yourself, Danny.
But maybe putting the DJi motor in something like a little bit more premium or hardcore amongst the mountain bike brands, that could be like the perfect ticket, right? I mean, who we got? We got Forbidden is 99% confirmed, right?
99999%, yeah.
I mean, there's even someone's gone to the extent of making a rendering.
Danny, that image is fake, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, all you got to do is like, it's a cut and shut, basically. If you look closely at the image, if you look at the front wheel, you'll see that the brake calipers, Shimano, so the front end of the bike is an Orbea Wild. And then if you look at the back wheel and zoom in, it's got a SRAM brake caliper, so the rear end's of a Forbidden Dreadnought. So that's not
It looks good though.
It does look good, yeah. Who else have we got on the DJi freight train?
Okay. Well, Uno is the latest brand to tease a prototype with it.
Yeah, so, they were reeled in there on Instagram. You could clearly see the display on the top tube.
That seems to be the giveaway that everyone's going for. There's a third brand rumoured out there. So
what's your guess on that?
My thought is Yeti.
Interesting.
Because super premium brand, the 160E is pretty long in the tooth now.
Never really took off, did it?
No. And it's got the it's got the Shimano EP8. Obviously, it's got updates to it, but it's got the Shimano battery and stuff in it, and I just think for Yeti it's not going to burn their e-bike sales if they come out with a new one. It's like they've got one bike, it's at the end of its life, it's not going to harm the residuals on the shop floor. So they've got nothing to lose. So I don't know, that's a total guess, but it'd be pretty cool to see it. And no one wants a Shimano motor either.
Danny, are you crazy? Are you crazy?
Did I say that?
Yeah. I mean, think about it, right? Canyon Spectral on, YT Decoy, 2 amazing bikes, 2 MBR test winners, both with Shimano motors. And I'd even say that when the YT came out originally, it had a pretty small battery. Both in separate tests, class-leading bikes.
Yeah, but Al, you've got to admit that those bikes would be even better with a Bosch CX motor.
Yeah, I think I wrote that in the review, actually. It's like, okay, right? Yeah, okay, yeah. You've got me there. But Danny, like, it also raises another point, and it's about price, and what we didn't mention at the beginning. Price is factored into your decision process when you're buying a bike, right? And like, how much do you think a Yeti or a Forbidden's going to cost when they slap on a DJi Avinox system to it?
It's going to be well over 10K, right?
10, 12, 14, the sky's the limit, right?
And that bike's 6,
yeah,
right?
so you could have 2 of those.
Yeah, puts it in perspective, right? And you're totally right, because for most riders, price plays a huge part in their buying decision.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And there's nothing like a 40% discount to make 85 Newton meters of torque and 600 watts of peak power look really, really attractive.
So the long and the short of it is that buying an e-bike is really complicated. And we didn't even discuss like battery capacities, how that impacts the range and the weight and the handling and all that sort of stuff.
No, didn't even scratch the surface with it. And I think we should save that, Danny, for a separate video where we actually get some bikes, try bikes with different battery capacity to see how it affects the range, their handling, and their overall performance.
Yeah, I think that would be a really fun video, really useful video. And it also sounds like there might still be a job for us in the future, or certainly the short term anyway.
Yeah, I've straight up tell people, like, we're both long in the tooth, a bit like that Yeti. And e-bikes have come along at a perfect time for us, for our careers too, right? Like, yeah. I mean, we have a whole history of testing analog bikes for 30 years. And then e-bikes come along, and like, we're excited about that new aspect of the technology too. But I'm always very much, it's a bike. You can't separate the systems. And I know people love to do these motor tests in isolation, but you can't ride the bike or the motor separately. You have to ride them together.
And on that note, we'd love to know if there are any topics you'd like us to discuss or theories you'd like us to test. Put them in the comments.